Welcome everyone to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into Module 11 of the Cleaning Validation series. We're tackling a subject that literally keeps quality managers awake at night, and that is audit and inspection readiness. But you know what? Here's the secret we're going to unpack today. Audit readiness really shouldn't be a reactive scramble. We absolutely have to stop treating inspections like a sudden fire drill. Instead, we're going to explore exactly how to transform readiness into a daily operational discipline. It's about making every single audit predictable, low stress, and highly successful.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to honestly ask yourself right now, would your site survive a surprise inspection today? Picture this. An auditor walks through your doors in exactly 2 hours with absolutely no prior warning. The stakes of regulatory scrutiny and cleaning validation are incredibly high. If your immediate reaction to that scenario is panic, well, it means your site is probably relying on a frantic preparation phase rather than genuine, everyday compliance.
All right, let's look at Section 1, Mindset for Inspection Readiness, the daily state.
To survive that surprise knock on the door, we have to completely shift our mindset from seeing audits as a pre-audit project to making readiness a daily habit. Why? Because cleaning validation is consistently one of the most heavily inspected GMP topics out there. And the readiness you build directly affects your outcomes. We're not just talking about a minor slap on the wrist here. Poor cleaning validation can actually lead to suspended manufacturing authorizations, devastating product recalls, and severe hits to your customer relationships. But on the flip side, when you build readiness day by day, it compounds your organizational maturity. Sites that operate like an inspection could happen today, they rarely ever see those nasty, unexpected findings.
Here's the thing. Inspectors don't just stare at the paper you hand them. They are actively evaluating your site's culture the entire time. They're watching how operators behave when they think no one is looking. They're listening to the tone of conversations, and they are definitely checking if senior leaders actually have a real presence on the manufacturing floor. They want to see if operators truly feel empowered with stop-the-line authority. Because true quality culture, you can't just fake that for audit week. If your operators are caught off guard or giving inconsistent stories, an inspector immediately sees that as a massive red flag, signaling a really weak shared understanding.
Moving right along to Section 2. What regulators look for, documents and connections.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that actually having these documents is only half the battle. Yes, of course, the FDA or EU GMP inspectors want to see your cleaning validation master plan, your equipment matrix, your recovery studies, and your HBL reports. But the real test they're giving you is rapid retrieval. If an inspector asks for a summary report and your document control system is so clunky that it takes 90 minutes to find it, that delay itself becomes a major finding. A really strong document control process proves to the auditor that your readiness is built daily, not just cobbled together at the last minute.
Alongside those document requests, you know inspectors are coming armed with very specific questions. They're going to ask you to walk them through your worst-case product rationale. They'll ask exactly how cleaning agent residues are addressed and how deviations are handled from the moment they're recognized to closure. The key takeaway here is that your validation engineers absolutely must be able to articulate their methodologies and acceptance criteria smoothly and without hesitation. Blank stares or wishy-washy answers? That's practically an invitation for auditors to dig deeper.
Ultimately, it's like a giant puzzle, and inspectors are testing the connections within your quality system. They want to trace a clear link from a validation run straight over to a change control, then down to a CAPA, and finally looping right back into updated training records. If your systems are totally disconnected and random sampling reveals broken chains, it just screams immature operation. A coherent, logical narrative from an incident all the way to closure is the absolute hallmark of a mature, truly audit-ready organization.
Let's get into Section 3, Navigating Inspection Day, Roles and Behaviors.
When the actual day of the inspection arrives, chaos is your absolute worst enemy. Assigning distinct, well-defined roles prevents confusion and shows the inspector you are totally in control. You've got to have a lead respondent as the main interface, subject matter experts to dive into the technical depth, a dedicated document coordinator for that rapid retrieval we talked about, and a scribe. That scribe role is so often underestimated, but it is vital for capturing questions exactly as asked to prevent miscommunication. Toss in an engaged senior leader to show accountability, and the whole inspection just flows so much more smoothly.
So the crucial point is how your team actually communicates with the auditor. The golden rule: listen carefully and answer factually. Saying yes, no, or I will check are perfectly acceptable, highly professional answers. If you're uncertain, escalate it rather than guessing. What you absolutely positively must not do is speculate, volunteer extra information outside the scope of the question, or respond defensively.
Trust me, defensive behavior rapidly erodes auditor trust, and it can turn a tiny minor finding into a massive, expanded investigation in no time.
Up next is Section 4, Findings and Regulatory Actions.
Okay, let's break down how an inspector classifies a finding, because this strictly dictates the priority and speed of your response. A critical finding? That means there's an immediate risk to patient safety, and it can literally suspend your manufacturing authorization on the spot. Major findings are substantial and demand prompt action, usually within 15 to 30 days. Minors are typically viewed as isolated lapses, while observations are just helpful opportunities to improve. Getting a handle on these classifications really helps you trend your performance across multiple audits.
If those major findings aren't handled correctly and swiftly, the escalations get very severe. At the end of an FDA inspection, you might get hit with a Form 483 listing specific violations. You've typically got 15 working days to respond. A really strong, non-defensive, comprehensive response here is absolutely crucial to prevent that 483 from escalating into an FDA warning letter. And a warning letter is a public document. It will severely impact your reputation. Repeat findings without verified effectiveness can even trigger court-monitored consent decrees. That means pausing operations and spending tens of millions to remediate. EU GMP findings are just as serious, with the power to suspend your import certificates globally.
And this brilliantly illustrates why your response workflow has to be flawless. When a finding is identified, the very first step is to acknowledge it without an ounce of defensiveness. Then, you rigorously investigate the root cause, you define your corrective and preventative actions with strict deadlines, and this is the most important part, you verify the effectiveness of those actions before you ever claim the issue is closed. If you treat findings as gifts rather than insults, you can turn a real vulnerability into a robust systemic improvement.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, Sustaining Daily Audit Readiness.
To make sure those severe findings never happen in the first place, we've got to stop repeating well-documented mistakes. Do not let your self-inspections turn into lazy checklist exercises, and definitely beware of mock inspection theater. If you just have friendly internal staff running soft mock inspections, you're going to miss the real findings that a seasoned auditor will spot from a mile away. Also, never let old CAPAs just sit open, and don't close them without verifying they actually worked. An orphaned CAPA is a massive warning sign of systemic governance failure. Instead of all that, you want to build a mature culture using these specific best practices. Try implementing risk-based self-inspections with independent, expert auditors. Make your compliance completely transparent with highly visible KPIs right at the workstations. Really reinforce that 5S discipline and conduct routine readiness drills. And perhaps most importantly, make sure senior leaders are doing daily floor walks. When audit capability is managed like this, it stops being a chore and actually becomes a strategic asset for your company.
Let's move to and see how this builds our final core takeaway. Readiness is a daily state. It is not a pre-audit project. It's the cumulative result of small daily disciplines, a shared understanding, and a culture that actively welcomes continuous improvement. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to carry into your next shift. What is one single habit you can change today to ensure that if an inspector walked onto your floor tomorrow morning, your operations would effortlessly speak for themselves? Are you ready to make readiness your daily reality?